Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Michelle Garcia from the College of Teacher Education studying Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English at University of Mindanao. I'm thrilled to have you join us today for what promises to be an insightful and engaging discussion. Whether you're a seasoned expert or just beginning to explore this topic, I'm confident you'll find value in our discussion. In this video, we're diving deep into learning disability, exploring its nuances, uncovering new perspectives, and sharing practical insights that you can apply in your own journey of learning and growth. So, without further ado, let's embark into this educational exploration together. What is learning disability? Learning disability is a compelling, reduced ability to understand new or complex information to master new skills, with reduced ability to cope independently, which will start before adulthood. Sometimes, the term Global Development Delay or GDD is described as a learning disability. GDD is a condition that occurs between birth and the age of 18, which counter a child from encompassing the milestones of development and learning to communicate, remembering things, processing information, and organizing their thoughts. Let's proceed to characteristics of students with disability. Learner as cited by Cargillo in 2009, learning disabilities manifest at different stages of life and deficits can be observed in various ways according to the age of the learners. First is problems with mechanical and social use of language. Most of the students with learning disability have problems in grammar and word meaning or vocabulary. Similarly, these students may have difficulty in breaking words into their component sounds or blending sounds together to form a word. Likewise, students with learning disability have difficulty in using language in social situations. They are not good conversationalists, meaning they find it difficult to engage in a meaningful conversation. Furthermore, most students with learning disability have difficulty in understanding textual materials. They have problems in identifying the main ideas of paragraphs presented to them. It is difficult for these students to assess themselves when they do not understand what they are reading. Second is problems with perception. Students with learning disability may have problems in auditory perception. They may find it difficult to follow verbal instructions and discriminate words that sound the same, like fat and fab. Another problem may occur in the visual perception. These students may reverse letters, experience difficulty in identifying shapes, and solving puzzles. The third one is problems with mathematics. Mathematics is second to reading difficulties of students with disability. Difficulty in computation of math facts, understanding word problems and the spatial relationship, writing numbers, problems with telling time, understanding fractions and decimals are typical to them. Often, they lack the ability to use efficient problem-solving strategies. Problem with attention and hyperactivity, students with learning disability have poor attention span and they are often easily distracted. It is hard for them to stick to one task, follow directions, and focus their attention for too long period of time. Others are active and fidgety. They usually exhibit inadequate impulse control and concentration. They blurt out the first things on their minds and are often talking non-stop. According to Halahan et al. In the year 2009, studies have constantly discovered an overlap of 10% to 25% between ADHD and learning disabilities. Fifth one is problems with memory cognition. Students with learning disability have problems with their homework. They usually fail to remember to bring home their homework, often distracted while doing their homework and forget to turn in their homework. Many researchers agree that learners with disabilities have problems with short-term memory and working memory. It is difficult for these learners to remember information after having seen or heard it. Repeating words presented visually and verbally may be hard for them. In the same manner, it is challenging for them to keep information in mind while simultaneously doing another mental task. And the last one is problems in social, emotional, and motivational skills. Individuals with learning disability are prone to social-emotional problems. Because of their constant failure in the past, they tend to be shy, withdrawn, and isolated. When they are presented with difficult or new tasks, they easily give up and constantly think it's difficult for them to succeed. No matter how hard they try, they will fail. As a result, the person fails to learn a new skill, reinforcing the feelings of helplessness and worthlessness. There are types of learning disability. The most common learning disability is dyslexia. It is introduced as developmental reading disorder. It is characterized by delay and difficulty in reading even with good eyesight and normal or above average intelligence. The person has a problem in any part of the reading process such as identifying speech sound, oral reading with expression, and reading comprehension. It can also hinder a person's ability to write, spell, and sometimes speak. Some are signs and symptoms of dyslexia are late talking, slow in learning new words, read slowly, letter reversal or mere writing, struggles in memorizing, and struggles in reading aloud. According to the American Psychiatric Association, dyscalculia is a specific learning disorder that is characterized by impairments in learning basic arithmetic facts, processing numerical magnitude, and performing accurate calculations. These difficulties are not caused by poor education, uncorrected vision, and hearing problems, intellectual impairments, or adverse conditions such as lack of language proficiency and economic status. The student with dyscalculia has poor capacity in mathematics that is not par with his age. According to the National Center for Learning Disability, British Dyslexia Association and Understood.org, there are some common signs and symptoms of a child with dyscalculia. It has trouble reorganizing groups and patterns, trouble counting backwards, poor sense of numbers and estimation, failure performing calculations, and high level of mathematic anxiousness. We also have dysgraphia. The term comes from the Greek word dys, means impaired, and graphia means handwriting. The person who has this condition has a messy handwriting and they struggle with spelling. It is difficult for them to put their ideas into a written form. For example, in visual spatial difficulty, the student copies text slowly. In fine motor difficulties, it is unable to use scissors or to color inside the lines. When it comes to grammar and usage problems, they don't know how to use punctuation. Erasers a lot and avoids writing are evident for handwriting issues, and lastly for spelling issues, they struggles in correct spelling. We also have school-based programs to better help the students and the teacher. The first one is the content enhancement. According to Hayward in 2009, generally, a wide range of techniques can be employed by teachers to enhance the order and implementation of the curriculum content in such a way so learners have successful access, interaction, comprehension, and retention of information. The persistent problem of students with learning disability is to recall and use the given information presented to them, either verbally or in written form. To address this, one can use a strategy known as mnemonic device. The word mnemonic has interesting origin. The term came from the Greek goddess of memory, mnemosyne. Now, mnemonic device refers to any memory-enhancing strategy. It is an instructional strategy used to improve the memory and it aids the retention of certain information. This technique helps the learner connect new knowledge from the previous learning through the use of verbal and visual cues. There are three mnemonic strategies that are known to be effective. These are the keyword technique, pegword technique, and letter technique. In keyword technique, students are taught how to transform an unfamiliar word to a familiar word. For example, in Filipino, pato or duck in English. Find an English word that sounds like pato. In this case, pot can be a good keyword because it sounds similar. Imagine a duck, the meaning of pato, sitting inside a pot, our keyword. Make this image as vivid and memorable as possible. Whenever you think of the Filipino word pato, recall the image of the duck in the pot. In this technique, the teacher can use familiar words that sound alike with the new word or idea presented. In pegword technique, students learn to associate members with familiar rhyming words. These rhyming words are used to stand for numbers. The common peg words for numbers 1 to 5 are 1 bun, 2 shoe, 3 tree, 4 door, and 5 hive. It is helpful for students who need to remember the order of information and when there is a number associated with the fact. In letter technique, one can use acronyms and acrostics. Acronyms are new words formed from the first letter of each word that needs to be remembered. One example of this is Roy G. Biv. Each letter represents the color of the rainbow, namely red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Acrostic, on the other hand, helps a learner recall by creating a sentence with the first letter of the words that need to be recalled. For example, in science class, the sentence, "My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas," is commonly used. It represents the planets in order: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Teachers can help their students express knowledge, concepts, or ideas by using graphic organizer. This visual aids to help the students see the classification or the relationship between concepts. Some of the examples of graphic organizer are Venn diagram, flow chart, and concept map. Note-taking strategies is important for the school children to learn an effective way to take down notes while the teacher is giving a lecture. These lecture notes can aid them during a review for the test. Through note-taking, the students learn to organize the information they hear and see. The first method of note-taking is the strategic note type. The first method of note-taking is the strategic note-taking. According to Hoover in 2009, the teacher will give a note paper to the class with cues that help the learners in organizing information and combining prior knowledge. The second method is the guided notes. A teacher provides specific questions and vocabulary words. We also have cognitive training strategy. This technique helps exercise or trains the way the brain learns. Through this training, the cognitive skills are enhanced, it strengthens the thought pattern, and promotes faster and more efficient learning. Additionally, this technique is helpful for students with learning disability because it teaches self-initiative and provides strategy for learning. For self-instruction, the students are required to verbalize or to talk aloud to themselves prior and during the time they perform the task. The teacher can teach the students in groups, then eventually let them work independently with her supervision. And self-monitoring requires the student to evaluate and record behavior. This approach is also helpful in monitoring on and off task behavior. In scaffolded instruction, it originated from the work of Lev Vygotsky in 1896 to 1934. It is an approach wherein the teacher assists or guides the students to master a learning goal. The teacher will allow the students to complete most of tasks unassisted. If the tasks are beyond the capability of the students that is only time, the teacher gives her assistance to them. The teacher gradually fades or reduces the assistance until the students can do the task independently. The reciprocal teaching was developed by Palinsar and Brown in 1986. This was established to address the problems of some learners who have difficulty in decoding and comprehending text presented to them. There is an interactive dialogue between the teacher and the students. The direct instructions Rosenshire, as cited by Hayward in 2009, in the 1960s, Seifert and Gilman developed direct instruction. This approach in teaching focuses on the academics. It is explicit. A systematic procedure of instruction focuses on proceeding small steps, checking for student comprehensions, and bring about a live and successful participation of learners. In short, direct instructions is clear, direct, and specific teaching wherein the teacher can help the learners link between knowledge and application. There's other practical teaching techniques. Focusing on problems like stand close to the child during lectures, memory problems, using a peer assistant for communication and elaboration, test inconsistency, which is allow extra time for responses, poor handwriting. The teacher should model good penmanship so that the student can practice writing in readable text. As we come to the end of our discussion, I want to express my gratitude to my instructor, Ma'am Edna Porras, for giving us her students a valuable learning experience, and I would like to share to you some inspiring quotes from famous authors. Being disabled means taking a slightly different path, but it doesn't hinder our potential. Robert M. Hensel, and I am different, but not less, by Temple Grandin. I hope you find in this discussion enriching and thought-provoking. Remember, learning is a lifelong journey, and the insights we've shared in this video are just the beginning. I encourage you to continue exploring, questioning, and seeking knowledge in your pursuit of personal and professional growth. Thank you for being part of this educational endeavor. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep inspiring others with your newfound wisdom. Goodbye and take care.